Good morning, Tottenham fans. One of my subscribers, Rob, shout out to Rob, gave me this idea for a video. He asked me the question, why do you think Spurs will have a better season next season? Now, we know Ange came out with season 3 is going to be better than season 2. So why would Ange think that too? I wanted to give you today 6 reasons why I think next season will be better. And we have to ask the question as well, what is better than winning the Europa League? Because in my opinion, winning the Europa League this season just gone was the best feeling I've had as a Spurs fan in all the years I've been supporting them, over 38 years now. So to have that feeling, to win that trophy after waiting for so long, what can beat that feeling? For me, there's a lot of things that need to happen, especially in the summer, things that need to happen luck-wise when we're going into it. And yeah, let me get into it. I'll give you 6 reasons why I think next season is going to be, I would say better. Yeah, I'm going to say much better in the league as well. I think our league form will be much better. I'll give you 6 reasons why. So, reason 1, I can't see us again having the horrendous luck with injuries as we have the season just gone. It was horrendous. And I understand people were saying, well, that's partly Ange's fault. I don't think so. I really don't. When they say his high intensity is causing injuries, not many teams in the Premier League play without high intensity, and nowadays it has to be done, otherwise you won't win games. And yeah, so, and also if you think about injury wise, you've got, Maddison was an ankle injury, Kulu was a foot injury, Bergvall was an ankle injury, Vicario was fractured his ankle, Dragushin twisted his knee, Bentancur had a 7-match game ban. We had Mikey Moore suffered with an illness. Richarlison's never fit. He's always injured all the time, and we slowly bring him back and he's still got injured. Odegaard overstretched for a ball and tore his hamstring and was out for months and months and months after just coming back from an injury. So there was many a time and many occasions, there's loads more because I've done another video about it, but there's many occasions where we were so unlucky with injuries last season, and reoccurring injuries as well. We brought them back slowly. It's not like we rushed them back. The only time Ange did rush them back was against Chelsea, Van de Ven, Romero. He brought them back in straight away and they got injured straight away. So that was the only scenario I can think of where Ange was at fault. But I think all the other times were just so much bad luck. It's unreal. We're not the only team to suffer with injuries. So if you want to blame Ange's tactics for all the injuries, then all the other managers that suffered with injuries, they got bad tactics as well. So for me, I don't think next season is going to be, I can't see it being as bad, and we need to sort out our medical staff as well. And that's one of the scenarios I think needs to change. We need to improve our medical staff as well. We do that, we get more luck with injuries, we should be a lot stronger next season. Reason 2, it depends on the summer signings as well. If we made no signings next season, I still can't see us finishing 17th, but I strongly believe we won't finish higher than, say, 8th. So we need to make some top quality signings. Like, the Champions League is no joke. We won't be able to rest players midweek for Champions League or in the Premier League, because both competitions are very, very tough to play in. So we're not going to have that luxury now of playing some 18-year-olds in Europa League like we did the season just gone. So summer signings are very important. We need players that can play in the DM role. We need players that can, we need forward players as well. I think the forward line needs improving a little bit. I think the midfield needs a little bit more steel to it, and I think we need more backup at the back. We've got some really, really good players. If we can hold on to all our players, then we have the nucleus of forming a good squad. But we definitely need some good signings in the summer. Reason 3 why I think that we can have a better season next season is the young players that were meant to have a bit part play in the season just gone actually got a lot more time than we expected, but that means they've developed a lot more and learned so much from it and got a trophy at the end of it. They got to be part of winning that trophy because they were playing many of these games. So the experience of these players will, shine through for next season. They're going to have a whole summer with Ange Postecoglou, hopefully. So there'll be even more experience in the system. He'll get to train the players how he wants them to play. And I just think that, people like Bergvall, he was the first 4 to 5 months, he was a bit part player, and he was coming on for the last 10 minutes. He was coming on, for the Europa Leagues for the I'd say weaker sides, and he was making lots of mistakes. He wasn't that strong on the ball, but as he kept playing, he progressed and got better and better and better. So technically, he's going to be like an extra player now going into the new season for our squad. Odegaard missed about 75 to 80% of the season. It always seemed like he was just getting back to match sharpness. So if Odegaard can get a run of games, that would be another young player that can actually get some minutes next season. He looks good at points of the season. He looked really, really good and sharp, and there's other times where he didn't. But again, that goes down to consistency. Archie Gray has been played out of position nearly all of last season. I think if we've got enough central defenders in, if we sign another one in, keep Romero, Gray can have a lot more, let's say, practice in that midfield in a Premier League. Because remember, like I mentioned earlier, Bergvall didn't have that much experience in the Premier League in midfield, and it took him a long while to adapt. It took him to the second half of the season to adapt. We'd have to do the same with Gray. Get him up to match speed into the midfield, and then he can be a good big part player next season. Obviously, Mikey Moore, he's suffered with a lot of illness last year. Not sure what it was. They never came out and said what it was, but that's another season of Mikey Moore getting minutes, though. He did look outstanding in the second half of one of the Europa League games, taking on his man, setting up chances. He looked electric, and then that illness came at the wrong time for him. He could still have a part to play next season too. So the youngsters that weren't really meant to be a big part of last season became a big part, and now I think they'll be ready for next season a lot more than they would have been. So, reason 4, I think Ange would have learnt a lot from this season. So Ange Postecoglou obviously can now understand what his players are capable of. So, we've got Van der Ven and Romero. He knows now that Van der Ven cannot be playing 2 times per week. If he did play 2 times per week, he's going to have to be rested for the next one. Romero is injury prone, so he now needs to know that Danso and whoever else, Viskovic, or if we sign another centre-back, can cover for them to give them 2 rests, so they're not, and don't rush them back. So he'll learn from that. He'll also learn that his formations that he kept playing against sides that weren't working, he decided in the Europa League to start playing more pragmatic, didn't invert his fullbacks, used them to their strengths. So Porro was not marauding forward. He was playing balls through from his own half straight over to Maddison, which was a massive asset in the Europa League, to be honest. Udogie was running down the wings, linking up with the left forward player, and it looked really good. It looked much better. It looked more solid. There wasn't open, and he was using a double pivot with Basuma and Bentancur. Maybe he'll start using that more in the Premier League next season, as the Premier League for him now will be his bread and butter because the trophy drought is gone. So that leads me to reason 5. Mentality of the players will be a lot stronger, I feel, next season. They will now have the belief in Ange Postecoglou that he can get over the line and win something. So he's got that there. He's proved it. The proof is in the pudding. Do as I say and you'll win things, right? You can see already that all the players are really behind Ange Postecoglou as well. They're all behind him. They all understand what he is as a man and what he demands from them. He's a winner. He's a born winner. And I think that mentality is starting to rub off on the players, and I think the players now are starting to grasp that they can be winners too, and he's making them believe it. So the mentality of the players going into next season, I think, is going to be much better. I just really do. Reason 6, the burden of the trophy drought is gone. Now, Ange Postecoglou concentrated on the Europa League and suffered in the league because of it. And I know there's a lot of you that don't believe him and he's just making excuses, but he told us he was going to win in the second season, and he did. So I believe him. He's a man of his word. So far, he's not failed in what he said he was going to do. So he's a bit under pressure now because he said season 3 is going to be better than season 2. So, but there you go. But he's also killed Spursy. That no one can say with Spursy now. We've got over the line. There's no, Spurs won't do it because they're Spursy. Spursy is dead now. You know, the bottle job is dead now. This Spursy side that people kept calling us is gone. We can't be beaten with that stick anymore. And the players won't have that pressure of the Spursy. They won't have the pressure of not winning the trophy. So now all they have left is belief that they can go and do this again. They've got the feeling of winning again. They've got the feeling of it. They want that again. It's addictive. So, especially with that parade. Imagine how good they felt on that parade. They'll want that again, I promise you. They'll want that again. So, to round this off, what is a better season? What would make Spurs fans happy? What would stop Spurs fans being divided and arguing whether Ange should be in or out? Now, after winning Europa League, which was a massive success for me last season, the league form was absolutely terrible. So I think next season, the best thing we can do to make this better. Now, normally, if you win a Europa League, the Premier League or the Champions League is the only step up from that. Winning the Premier League or winning the Champions League, that's the only steps up you can do. But I don't feel that's necessarily true. I think that if Spurs went on to get 5th or 6th next season, finish 5th or 6th, and win an FA Cup, I think every Spurs fan should, I'm not telling you that they definitely would, but they should all align and all be happy with that, because that'd be 2 seasons in a row with a trophy, and we'll qualify for the Europa League for the following season. Then we can build on that success again and then push forward. And then in time, maybe then we can start thinking about trying to challenge, because step 3 would be trying to challenge up the top. Winning the Premier League or the Champions League next season is massively unrealistic. But nothing is impossible in football. We all know this. But just so I don't get clipped, I'm not saying we're going to win the Premier League or Champions League. I'm just saying that is what people imagine when Postecoglou said season 3 is going to be better than season 2. But yeah, an FA Cup, finishing 5th or 6th in the league, getting yourself Europa League for next season would be a really fantastic season for Spurs next season. So there's my reasons for Tottenham having a better season next season. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this video. Thank you for watching, and come on you Spurs!